This detective is about to be knocked unconscious in a horrific car accident, but when he wakes up, he won't recognize the world around him. In 2006, Detective Chief Inspector Sam Tyler, who works for the Grand Manchester Police, arrives at the house of a suspect in a murder and kidnapping case. The suspect, Colin Rames, makes a run for it, but Sam manages to chase him down and arrest him. Afterward, Sam brings Colin in for questioning and presents some compelling evidence to tie him to the murder and the kidnapping. He shows Colin's diary in which he's confessed to a murder on the same day that the murder under investigation was committed. But Colin's psychiatrist points out that he is schizophrenic, and constructing such fantasies is part of his condition. Sam does not budge and continues to present evidence against Colin. However, he hits a dead end when Colin's psychiatrist explains that on the night of the kidnapping that Sam is accusing Colin of, Colin was with her. Due to this perfect alibi, Sam has to let Colin go. Afterward, Sam's girlfriend Maya, who is also a detective, says that they shouldn't let Colin go so easy, since she has a gut feeling that there is more to him that they haven't found out yet. Sam doesn't want to get sued for harassing a schizophrenic man when they have no solid leads against him, so he tells Maya to stand down. He also tells Maya that he is taking her off this case because he feels their personal issues are starting to affect their work. This upsets Maya. Next, Maya calls Sam and tells him she is listening to her gut and following Colin. She adds that Colin is meeting someone, so he may know the killer. Sam gets worried and says that he is sending back up for her immediately, but just then, he hears a commotion and Maya screaming on the phone before the call is cut off. Next, Sam arrives at the location that Maya was calling from and only finds her bloodied shirt. She has either been killed or kidnapped. Sam orders forensics to preserve the scene and drives away. As he is driving, Sam is overcome with grief and starts crying. He almost crashes into another car, so he stops and steps out to process his emotions. However, this doesn't help, as another car comes speeding down the road and runs into him. Sam is knocked unconscious, and he comes around just enough to hear doctors operating on him. However, when he finally wakes up, he is still on the ground, but he is wearing different clothes and is outside some old factory. He goes to look at a car nearby, thinking that it's the one that ran him over. However, there is no one inside it. Just then, an old-timey-looking police officer arrives and claims that this is Sam's car. He tells Sam that the papers inside the car say Sam is an inspector, but Sam replies that he is a chief inspector. He says he needs to find his mobile phone, but the term just seems to confuse the police officer. As Sam walks around the city, he doesn't recognize one bit of it, and when he sees himself in a mirror, he is surprised by his own clothing. While all this is bizarre, he does find a wallet in his pocket that confirms that he is an inspector, not a chief inspector. Next, he arrives at his office, except it looks nothing like it's supposed to. Sam finally loses it and demands to know what is going on. He says that he is the chief and this is his office, so where is all his stuff? But then, the actual chief, Gene Hunt, arrives and beats Sam up for acting like he's in charge. He tells Sam to get in line, and during the confrontation, Sam learns that he has somehow arrived in the year 1973. This revelation bewilders Sam, and he tries to use the phone to call a mobile number, but he instead connects to an operator who doesn't understand what he's trying to say. Just then, Sam starts hearing a defibrillator charging and a doctor calling out his name. However, the noise goes away as quickly as it starts. Next, Gene goes to give the newspapers a statement, and being the most senior officer, he leaves Sam in charge of a murder case. Sam is shocked at how sloppy the police work is in 1973. The evidence is not handled with any care, the crime scene is not preserved, the female victim is made fun of, and statements are not taken from several suspects just because the detectives know them personally. Sam notices that the details of the murder are exactly the same as the case he was investigating in 2006, and the victim was found on Satchmore Road, exactly where Maya was taken. This makes him realize that all this is definitely a creation of his unconscious brain. He starts doing anything and everything he can to wake up, but it doesn't work. The other detectives assume something is wrong with him and get a nurse named Annie to check him. The nurse is unable to point anything in particular out and just advises him to go home and rest. She offers to drive him home and he accepts. As they arrive home, Sam loudly theorizes that he is probably lying unconscious in a hospital bed in 2006, and none of this is real. Annie, who has studied psychology, suggests that he is having some kind of psychological breakdown. Sam suddenly touches her chest to check if she has a heartbeat, and she gets offended that he thinks she is not real. She leaves. Later at night, Sam is sleeping in front of a TV program, and the man in the program suddenly starts talking like a doctor and mentioning Sam's symptoms. He says that Sam is not exactly in a coma, but rather in a low-responsive state due to severe cranial trauma. Hearing this, Sam suddenly starts yelling at the TV, and as he does this, the man in the TV says that Sam sometimes murmurs and moves ever so slightly. Sam shouts at the TV, begging to be taken out of whatever unconscious reality he is trapped in, but it doesn't happen, and the man in the TV goes back to being a regular broadcaster. The next day, Sam returns to the office and continues to try doing detective work, but the rough and unprofessional work ethics of 1973 continue to upset him. He almost gets serious about the case, but then he gets frustrated, remembers that none of this is real, and throws a tantrum again. Jean says that Sam clearly has some mental issues, and definitely some issues with authority, but he doesn't care about any of that as long as Sam can do his job well. Sam confidently claims that his 2006 detective procedures will easily allow him to catch the murderer, and Jean tells him to prove it. Sam addresses the entire office and shows them the use of forensic psychology in the case, which in this era is not taken seriously. He takes the help of Annie to get into the mind of the killer, and all the other detectives scoff at the fact that he's taking help from a woman. He continues to do so either way, and figures out that the killer is a mentally disturbed man who is intimidated by women and acts out violently to get their attention. After Sam's methods don't produce any leads for a while, Sam and Jean begin to clash about how they're going to move forward. Jean says that they're going to do things his way now. Sam realizes that he doesn't need to have this argument because none of this is real. He tells Annie that he is going to start walking and keep going until his mind is unable to construct any more roads and buildings. However, before he can act on this plan, he stumbles upon a lead which helps him crack the case. Sam and Jean arrive at the house of the killer, Edward Kramer, rescue his next victim, and arrest him. As Kramer is being placed under arrest, Sam discovers that a young Colin is Kramer's neighbor. This means that Maya was right. Colin did know the killer in 2006, after all. Afterward, Sam tells Jean that he found a doctor's note at Kramer's house declaring him mentally unstable, which means that he won't go to jail. Jean tells him that he will not be showing that note in court, because if he does, Kramer will easily go free after some time in a hospital, and he will kill again. Sam is uncomfortable with this, but he now knows that Kramer will eventually kidnap Maya, so he allows it. Next, Sam is sitting alone at a restaurant when a man suddenly appears in front of him. The man says that he is a hypnotherapist speaking directly to his subconscious in 2006. He tells Sam that he can break out of whatever subconscious reality he is caught in. He just needs to take a definitive step. He also mentions that Maya is alive and okay, and by his side. This motivates Sam. Sam arrives at the top of a tall building and prepares to jump, thinking that this is the definitive step to free him. Annie arrives to stop him. She says that the man he met at the restaurant is her ex-boyfriend, Keith, from her psychology class, who knows about Sam's theories of this world not being real and was playing a prank on him. Sure enough, Keith arrives downstairs and apologizes for his tasteless joke. Sam says that all of this is his subconscious mind trying to keep him here, but Annie keeps trying to convince him otherwise. He feels some sand in Annie's hand and asks how she got it. She replies that she slipped and her hand dipped in a fire bucket on the way. This sways his mind a little, because why would he think up such unnecessary detail? Annie begs him to reconsider this move, and it seems he does, as the next moment he wakes up in his bed at home. Sam decides that he doesn't know whether he's actually in the past or just in a coma, but there is a reason he is here, and he can't leave until he figures it out. Next, Sam continues working with the police department, and the 1973 methods continue to rub him the wrong way. He gets mad at Jean for trying to get an admission of guilt out of a robbery suspect by planting false evidence. Jean says that the suspect, Trent, is a known robber, and he has to get him off the streets. But Sam lets Trent go because they have no real evidence against him. Later, a robbery takes place during which one of the female workers from the police station, June, gets shot, as the robbers try to shoot Sam and Jean. Jean blames Sam for June's condition, because if he had not let Trent go, this would not have happened. Sam gets frustrated with the twisted way that things are run in this time. As he comes back to the office, he hears the sound of a heart monitor coming out of a radio, and then hears a doctor talking about how the mind takes more time to adjust than the body does in severe cases of cranial trauma like this. Sam gets incredibly annoyed with the way things are done in 1973, and assumes that since all this is possibly a creation of his own mind, he can change the year. He tries his hardest to change his surroundings and notices fluctuations happening, but nothing beyond that. Annie meets him, and he once again goes on a rant about how none of this is real. She tells him to try and make the best of the situation he's in. Sam visits June in the hospital, and Jean arrives there as well. He punches Sam in the face, and Sam fights back. After a few minutes of taking their frustrations out on each other, the two men sit down and discuss what to do next. Sam says that he will not work the way Jean wants him to, so if he is going to fire him, he should do it. Jean says that he will not fire Sam because he has to make this right. The two continue working on the case. One day, a particularly attractive witness arrives at the station, and Sam is disappointed in the pervy behavior of all the detectives. Next, Sam meets a garbage man named Leonard who saw the robbery go down. Leonard claims that he saw Trent with his mask off during the robbery, and Sam tells him that if he can identify Trent in a lineup, they'll be able to put him away. However, Leonard is scared that Trent's people might hurt him. Sam assures him that he'll stand behind a two-way mirror and Trent won't even see him, but he then learns that the police have not yet started using two-way mirrors. Leonard gets scared and runs away, but Sam chases him down and offers him witness protection if he agrees to identify Trent the next day. Sam leaves Annie with Leonard and asks two officers to stand guard outside his house, but the officers don't take witness protection seriously and abandon their post. Trent and his men arrive to kill Leonard, and Annie contacts Sam, who rushes to their rescue. He arrives to find Annie and Leonard hiding, but just then, Trent and his men find them. They run away, but Trent corners them. As he points a gun at them, about to shoot, Jean arrives at the last minute and rescues the three. Next, feeling secure because of Sam's actions to protect him, Leonard identifies and accuses Trent, who is then promptly arrested. Afterward, Sam arrives to see June in the hospital, and suddenly all the lights around him turn off, and the doors of the room close. He hears somebody yelling about his life support accidentally being turned off and screaming to turn it back on quickly. The lights turn back on in the hospital and the doors open, and Sam hears someone breathe a sigh of relief. Life on Mars is a 2006 British television series that went on for 2 seasons till 2007. The series was incredibly well received by audiences and critics alike, and was praised for perfectly executing an idea that should have been a mess by all logic. While the finale of the first season left audiences a bit confused, the writer of the show made it clear that the ambiguity was created on purpose, and that the ending of the show is open to interpretations. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.